I'm Jennifer Collins from the Collins Cluckery, and welcome to my kitchen. For a long time I wanted to do a video for you guys about how to cut up a whole chicken. And while on one hand I know you could go on YouTube and probably get 5,000 videos on how to cut up a whole chicken, I'm your local chicken lady, and so I thought I'd love to do this video for you. A lot of people have a great intimidation when it comes to dealing with whole chickens. Grandma, of course, always started with a whole chicken, but most of us have grown up on boneless, skinless chicken breast. And in fact, there's a little funny story. When my husband and I were first married, I had done a ton of baking before I got married, but not a lot of cooking. And so I was really intimidated, and I found a couple of chicken breast recipes, boneless, skinless chicken breast recipes that he said he liked. And I served them, and I served them, and I served them until finally my very nice husband said one day sitting at dinner, "Honey, I love your chicken, but could we please have something other than chicken for dinner?" So I guess even though I wasn't a chicken lady at that time, it was in the works. I hope that this goes smoothly because I want to show you how to cut up 2 chickens, because I have one little tool that will make it easier that you may or may not have in your kitchen. So I first want to demonstrate with something that I know you all have in your kitchen. And I want to cut up 2 chickens. I also only have 2 chickens thawed, so if this doesn't work out, it's just going to have to wait for another day. But we'll give it our best shot, and if it's a little awkward, I know you'll forgive me. All right, when you're dealing with cutting up any sort of meat, typically it's very helpful if you let the weight of the animal do the work, and it's also helpful if you go between the joints. You're not going to dull your knives that way, and it just makes the whole process a lot smoother. So when you're dealing with a whole chicken, it's nice, you want to start by lifting it up. Oh, well, what do you know? The Collins Cluckery chickens come with a neck, a heart, and liver. Now I could use the liver today, I could use the neck today by roasting it. And there's meat to be had on the neck, but I've got a lot going on today, so I don't really want to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the neck in this Ziploc baggie, and this will start a collection of chicken parts for me that I'll be able to use to make a delicious chicken stock later on. I don't need to do it today. I'm going to collect up chicken parts and bones, and I will do the raw pieces here. I'm also going to put in the bones after we eat supper. And no, it doesn't matter that I'm putting raw with cooked, because instantly it's going to be popped right into my freezer, and it's going to sit there collecting more bones, collecting the peelings from my carrots, the ends from my carrots, the little extra bits of onion. And when I have 2 or 3 bags of this in my freezer, I'm going to put them in a pot, and I'm going to make a delicious chicken stock. So that's where we'll start. Now my heart and my liver, I'm going to just put off in a bowl right now. And when I'm done right here, I'm going to go over on my stove. I'm going to just heat up a little bit of butter in a skillet, and I'll saute them till they're done. It'll take just a couple of minutes, salt them, and it's a delicious, nutritious snack. So now I'm going to pick up my chicken, and nothing should fall out this time. And right here, I'm going to pick it up by the wing, and I'm going to go around the wing in a little bit of a circle. And what I'm looking for is the joint. This is a ball and socket joint, so I'm going to go right there between the joints, and here I have a wing. Now I can cook it just like this, but you see that's a pretty skinny piece, and when you consider that the breast is going to be this big and the wing's going to be this big, this is going to cook really quickly. So I'm going to make it neat and pretty, and also a little more compact. So it'll take this a little bit longer to cook, the heat to get through to the center, and of course it just looks a heck of a lot nicer. So that's what I'm going to do, and put that on my tray. Now I'm going to go to the other wing, pick it up, and again I'm going around in a circle. And right there, right through the joint. That one even got a little bit of breast meat on it, which people who are really good at this often leave that on there because it gives just a little more meat to something that often doesn't have a lot of meat on it. And I'm going to, again, put that right there on my tray. Now I'm going to take off the chicken quarter, which includes the leg and the thigh. Now right here in the chicken quarter, there is a strip of skin, of course. It's very loose skin, and I'm going to go right between the breast and the leg. I'm going to want to leave as much skin there as I can so that the breast is nicely covered when it cooks. because the breast being white meat does tend to dry out more quickly than the rest. So I'm gonna cut this right down between, and I'll be exposing, you can see here, I have the thigh and the leg. And again, there is a joint. You can kind of pop that back and look right there. There's another ball and socket joint, and I'm just going to cut right between the joint. Now this is a neat trick. I don't know, Kev, if you can get in the video a little bit better, but there is a line of fat right here. I hope you can see that. I am going to cut straight down on the leg side of that line of fat, about 1/4 inch over. And as much as you might think, obviously there's bone here, there's bone here, going right down there, I go right between the bones and I hit the joints. So you're not having to hack through bones. So of course here I have the leg and I have the thigh. I'm gonna go over here and do the exact same thing. Right there with that skin. And I'm gonna pop it back. And again, I've gone right between the joint. Sometimes when you do that, you're gonna make a mistake and this white part of the joint will end up sticking over here, so you see the red end of the bone. Obviously, that's only cosmetic. That's not gonna be any problem whatsoever. So again, I am looking for that line of fat right there, and I'm gonna go on the leg side of that fat, and I ought to be able to go right smack down between the joints without hitting any bone. All right, now, this is a little trick my mom taught me years ago, and it's just sort of fun to do. Right here where the wing was, there's a hole at the base of the breast on both sides, right there. I'm gonna stick my knife right into that hole, and you want a sharp knife. It's actually the safest way to work, because then the knife does a lot of the work for you. I'm gonna hold onto the back, and I'm just gonna boop, 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 literally jiggle my knife up, and it separates the back from the breast. Go do this on the other side. Here I will grab the breast, which is a little more awkward. I'm gonna, again, stick it right in the hole and jiggle, 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 jiggle my way up. And now I've separated the back from the breast. I'm gonna pop that back and just pull it off, and there I have the back. Now, you can cook the back of the chicken. There are a couple of spots here. These right here are literally the tenderloin of the chicken. They're absolutely delicious. But again, I have a lot going on today, and I don't want to cook the back and have to mess around with those right now. So what I'm gonna do is the back is going into my stock bag. Now, on this one, I pulled a little bit of a bone out that really belongs with the back, no problem. I'll pull that out and stick it there in my bag. And now I'm left with a whole breast, ribs attached. Now, to separate the breast, I could cook it like this, but obviously something like this is gonna take a heck of a lot longer to cook than something like this. So I am going to use my knife to start cutting and to score. So right here, here's the wishbone, okay? Right there is the beginning of the cartilage, and this is the ending of the bone. So I'm gonna take my knife and pierce right straight down into kind of the end of that bone, and I'm gonna go down all the way through that line of cartilage. Straight down, boom. And then I'm gonna go over here and use my knife to kind of just gently score, and I'll use this for any weight I'm putting down. I'm pretty much just pushing down on this non-sharp part of the knife because I don't wanna dull my knife. But I can kind of use the tip of the knife to just score along a little tiny bit, and then I'll flip it and use my body weight, boom, to push straight down. Then when I go like this, that has broken pretty well between. I got a little bit more of the bone on this side. I would have liked to have had that split a little bit more, but again, we're talking cosmetics here. So then I'm gonna take my knife and just go back down. I can tell I didn't quite get through the wishbone, so again, I'm gonna break that with the base of my knife where it's not sharp, because I don't want to, well, it's not working. So I just snapped it like that because I don't want to dull my knife. And now I just go through the skin And I have 2 lovely breasts here. Okay. Now, I'm going to demonstrate that for you again. I'm going to use really the same tips, the same tricks, the same techniques with one small difference that can make something a lot easier. Again, we have the neck, the heart, and the liver. And just a tip for when you're cooking the heart, the liver cooks very quickly. The heart is much more tough. And so I like to cut it in half. And that just helps it to cook a lot more quickly. Okay, so I'll put my neck here in my stock bag, and I'm done with this for the moment. Again, now this is a much bigger chicken. This is probably getting up around nearly 6 pounds. So something like this is going to be really good if you're going to be having, maybe you have a larger family or you're going to be having a family dinner. You guys might want to keep this in mind if you are not crazy about turkey for Thanksgiving. We do have several of these, and these are great for feeding a larger crowd. So anyway, you're going to start again by holding up. Oh, there's a little feather on that one. You're going to start by holding it up by the wing. I'm going to make a little circle here, right around there, and the weight of the chicken, let me go right between the joints. So again, right there, and I'll do this one a little bit more quickly because you've already seen the technique. I'm going around, and oh, see right there, you can see I cut on the wrong side of the joint. But again, that's just the end of the bone. It's only cosmetic and won't be any problem whatsoever. Now, I'm going to cut off the leg quarter. So I will go right between the thigh and the leg and the breast. Pop that back. And here I've gone between the 2. And again, I'm going to look for that line of fat and go on the leg side of the line of fat. Straight down the middle. And I'll put these on here. Again, straight down between the fat. And I'll cut. I like to kind of work up to the joint. That tends to expose it a little more and make it easier. Okay, so again, then I'm going to look for that line. And you can see I'm going a little bit more quickly here. This is not in a rush to get done with the video. This is to show you that once you learn the technique, cutting up a whole chicken doesn't have to take long. You can do it even if you're slow. You can easily cut up a chicken in less than 5 minutes. So I don't want you to feel intimidated by this. It's just like anything. When you first start doing it, it's intimidating. You're not quite sure what to do. When you start cutting and keep in mind that you want to go between the joints, that's just going to make all the difference for you. Again, my little technique for going up between the back and the breast is to find this hole where the wing was attached and just jiggle, jiggle, jiggle going up. Turn it around and grab the breast, which again is more awkward. And I'm going to jiggle, jiggle, jiggle up. I've got it separated. I am going to pull this. This is a bigger guy, so it's a little bit harder to do. But I'm just going to pull that apart. Ooh, that was hanging on. And this, that looks so ugly. But again, that right there is the tenderloin of the chicken. It is so tender. And there are a bit more. There are some meat bits here and here as well. This will go in my stock. Now again, I have to separate my 2 breasts. I want to separate my 2 breasts. So where it starts going from pink to white is the end of the bone area. So I'm going to pierce that with the tip of my knife so I don't dull the blade. Go right down between the cartilage and skin and flip it around. Now, here's my fun little trick. Simply makes the job easier. I'm dealing with a pretty big bird right now. And honestly, this one's only 6 pounds. We do have them up that are near 7 pounds. And sometimes they can be a little harder to get through. If you happen to have a good pair of pruning shears, these are a really good addition to your kitchen, especially if you make a lot of bone broth, because maybe you've made a nice pot of broth, and I'll talk about this at some other time. You make a nice pot of broth, you strain it out, and you have a lovely broth for making. cream gravies and sauces. But then you can actually cook those bones again and make another very good stock, but that one's better for soups and stews. One way to get a lot of the good calcium out is after those bones have been cooking a bit, they're a little bit soft, and you can use a pair of these to actually cut some of them in half and get more of the nutrition out of the center of the bone. So another use for these though is to go right up here between that bone and the wishbone. They can be a little hard. You'll want to get ones that fit your hands. I have another pair and they fit the hands of my big boys. They don't fit mine very well. This is a Felco 2. These are absolutely terrific and they fit my hands really well. So if you have small hands, bear that in mind. Again, going right down there, and a lovely breast. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to step over just a second and wash my hands, and then I'll be back to season these up so easily and just be delicious. Okay. I am first, excuse me, told you a rough video. I'm first just going to take a paper towel and dry these off a bit. I did dry it a little before I did the video, but I just want to make sure that they're dry so that my olive oil will stick really nicely. That's actually pretty dry. Must have had those dry before I started. And I am going to just do this really sloppily, and you'll see why in a second. Neatness hardly matters. I am going to season to taste. Ooh! I think that'll be enough salt for both of them. I didn't mean to get so much. And then I'm going to put on a whole bunch of pepper. That's funny, I don't usually do that. All right, so what I'm going to do, because I want to share that salt, I'm going to just pile all these together. What I would have done would have been to salt each tray and pepper and olive oil and then do this individually. But what I'm going to do is just rub all over, and that's why I wasn't doing each side individually. There's no reason for that. I'm going to take a little bit of that excess salt and get rid of that. In fact, I can use my towel to get rid of that excess salt there. All right. My dad, who watches his salt, is at this moment looking on with horror, I know. All right, so I'm going to put these back on the trays. And what I'm going to do is roast these in a 375-degree oven. Well, for how long? Obviously, the larger chicken is going to cook more slowly than the smaller chicken. So I'm simply going to have to keep an eye on it. And what I'm going to do will be to check the pieces periodically. There are a few ways to check chicken to see if it's cooked. My favorite way, honestly, is by temperature. It's just very, very safe. And so what I'm going to do is, after they've been in there for about 35 minutes, I'm going to start checking at 375. And I will check the breast. There's no way this will be done at that time, but I'm going to go into the thickest part of the breast and look for 185. I could have said 165, and there's a reason for that, but I will go for 185. I'll check the leg. I find the leg to be the hardest part to get to cook through, and I'll check the breast. And again, I'm looking for 185. If I need to take them out at separate times, I can. This will be absolutely delicious. It's so simple. Olive oil, salt, and pepper to your taste. The skin will be crispy, the meat will be tender, and I will be taking the breast and cutting it up to help to with dinner tonight, because I have something else planned for dinner, but we're having guests. I'm not sure there's going to be enough, so I'm going to use the breast for that tonight. And then the rest of it is going to turn into some chicken soup for my husband and his friends who will be coming in from hunting. So anyway, I hope that that was helpful. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if you'd like to see anything else like that, or if you have any other questions. Like I said, I'm your local chicken lady, and I'm always happy to talk chicken. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.